Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, we're diving into the Kristin Smart case. Two men currently on trial. We're going to be diving into all of that and what has led to this pretty much cold case murder. Kristin Smart, college student, goes missing. It's been over 2 decades since this California student, Kristin Smart, mysteriously vanished. Now, her family may get the answers they've been desperately seeking. In 2020, Denise Smart, the mother of Kristin Smart, said the FBI recently had contacted her and they told her to brace herself for unexpected news. Denise says they told her, be ready. This is really going to be something you don't expect. We want to give you the support you need. Although the FBI didn't tell Denise what the development was or when it would be announced at that time, they recommended that she obtain a family spokesperson, then get away for a while. See, Kristin Smart, she disappeared on May 24th, 1996, after attending an off-campus party. She called her parents around 8 p.m. that night and left them a voicemail. It was the last time they heard from her. A fellow college student, Paul Flores, told authorities that he accompanied Kristin back to her dorm room after the party. He claimed that he then left and walked to his own dorm room at Santa Lucia Hall. At that time, Flores had a black eye, and he explained that it happened after playing basketball, but detectives were skeptical of his story. He later claimed he got the black eye while working on a truck, so he was changing his story pretty much shortly after. Eventually, he stopped talking and obtains an attorney. When authorities brought cadaver dogs to the campus where Paul Flores lived, the dogs reportedly made their way to room 128 at the Santa Lucia dorm where Flores lived. And 2 dogs showed interest in a mattress on the left-hand side of the room, which was Flores's side of the room. And one dog handler, she said that there is a strong possibility that a deceased body had been in that room. Now, authorities might have had their chance to arrest Flores on rape charges prior to Smart's disappearance, because in 2016, additional women reportedly came forward afterward and said Flores also sexually assaulted them. Though at that time, Flores was not charged with any assault of any kind. He hadn't been charged in connection with her disappearance either. But Smart's parents eventually filed a civil suit against Flores for taking the body of Kristin Smart and secreting and or destroying the body in a hidden place in the county of San Luis Obispo. Now, Flores' family countersued the Smart family for emotional distress. Now, a judge would later rule that the Smart's lawsuit could not proceed due to the ongoing investigation. And Flores at this time just continued to remain a person of interest in the case. Sheriff's office, they released some information and they say that they have been working on the case, and since 2011, this work had included the service of 18 search warrants, conducting physical evidence searches at 9 separate locations, a complete re-examination of every item of physical evidence that was seized by all agencies involved in that case, and submission of 37 evidence items from the early days of the case, and submission of 37 evidence items from the early days of the case for modern DNA testing. And they had a recovery of 140 new items of evidence, conducting 91 person-to-person interviews, the writing of 364 supplemental reports. So they were doing their due diligence from what we were able to tell. And additionally, the sheriff's office had invested more than 7,500 employee hours since 2011, and they did confirm sheriff's office had 2 trucks in evidence that belonged to the Flores family members in 1996 when this disappearance occurred. In February of 2020, California authorities issued 4 search warrants and detained the primary suspect in the disappearance of Kristin Smart. And the search warrants had spanned across 2 different states, including 1 location in Los Angeles, 2 locations in San Luis Obispo County, and a location in Washington. And so they go to Paul Flores' mother's home in Arroyo Grande, California, and they come out of the home carrying numerous items of evidence. And so even though he was detained during the authorities' search of the home, he still had not been charged in connection with the case yet. He was just a person of interest, but he was their prime suspect as well. And then in March of 2021, authorities serve a search warrant at the home of Paul Flores' father. And they use cadaver dogs and ground penetrating radar, suggesting the possibility of suspected human remains. But at that time, detectives did not say exactly what they were looking for. Again, they have never found Kristin Smart's body, even to this day. The San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office in California said a major development in the Kristin Smart case has happened, and authorities are scheduled to give a live update that afternoon. And so they have the conference, and it is reported that Paul Flores, who has been a person of interest in connection with the 1996 disappearance and presumed death of Kristin Smart, who was a Cal Poly freshman, he was finally arrested. And not only that, but his father, Ruben Flores, was arrested as well. And he was arrested on charges of accessory after the fact. And they have the big update that not only is Paul charged with murder, but his dad is charged with murder as well. So there was finally some feeling of maybe there's going to be justice for Kristin Smart after both the son, Paul Flores, and the dad, Ruben Flores, were arrested and charged with this heinous crime. And a spokesperson for the Smart family releases a statement from the family the afternoon of this press conference. And he says, given that this is an extremely emotional day, the Smart family will not be conducting any interviews and will not be meeting with any reporters today or in the foreseeable future. And the statement was from the family: for over 24 years, we have waited for this bittersweet day. It is impossible to put into words what this day means for our family. We pray it is the first step to bringing our daughter home. While Kristin's loving spirit will always live in our hearts, our life without her hugs, laughs, and smiles is a heartache that never abates. The knowledge that a father and son, despite our desperate pleas for help, could have withheld this horrible secret for nearly 25 years, denying us the chance to lay our daughter to rest, is an unrelenting and unforgiving pain. We now put our faith in the justice system and move forward, comforted in the knowledge that Kristin has been held in the hearts of so many and that she has not been forgotten. And so we find out more and why he's being charged and what has been alleged to have happened. Here he is behind bars for the 1996 murder of Kristin Smart, attempted to rape her before killing her, according to the prosecution. And they say during this press conference, it is alleged he caused Kristin's death while in the commission of or attempt to commit rape. And the district attorney, he says that the incident likely happened inside Paul's dorm room. And this criminal complaint also says that the prosecution plans to admit evidence of prior sexual acts and other alleged incidents of abuse against Paul Flores. As I mentioned earlier, you had 4 witnesses that came forward talking about sexual abuse from this character. And when Kristin Smart had disappeared, fellow classmates Cheryl Anderson and Tim Davis told police that Smart was intoxicated and passed out on a neighbor's lawn that night. They helped her up to escort her back to her dorm room when Flores joined in and said he would help as well. As the group walked towards Smart's dorm, Davis left first to go to his own dorm, followed by Anderson. Flores assured the group that he would get Smart home safely and lived the nearest to her. Flores later told authorities that he accompanied Smart back to her dorm room at Murr Hall. He claimed he then left and walked to his own dorm room at Santa Lucia Hall. And Flores, as I mentioned earlier, he had a black eye while speaking to investigators at the time, and he explained it happened after playing basketball, but again, they were skeptical of that story. He later claimed that he got a black eye while working on his truck. And so now the alleged killer and his dad are charged in connection to this murder. And due to the case's high profile, a San Luis Obispo Superior Court judge allowed both defendants to obtain protective orders. And so then they claimed their innocence in this, and they pleaded not guilty. Now, at first, when Ruben Flores, the dad, was arrested, his lawyer said that the charges against his client were questionable. He said that the most damning evidence that prosecutors have against Ruben Flores is the soil that has been disturbed, dug up, and unloaded in a nearby site where the foundation had been laid. But the prosecutor said, no, you're actually leaving out several key factors. And they said that the arrest came after new evidence emerged through Paul Flores' cell phone data, new witnesses that came forward, separate police searches at Paul Flores' mother's home, along with his sister's residence and his father's home. Now, prosecutors at one time were saying that they think they know where she is buried, although they did not disclose that information. And at the end of the day, Kristin Smart deserved justice after disappearing now 26 years ago. And so prosecutors say that Kristin Smart was once buried under the deck of Ruben Flores' home. Again, the dad of the man accused of killing her, which is why Ruben Flores was arrested. And court documents said that authorities are in possession of biological evidence that makes them believe the victim was buried underneath Ruben Flores' deck at one time. And the deputy district attorney at the time said if he, Paul Flores, were released from custody, the court would be putting a serial rapist back on the streets and leave him free to victimize additional women. Because of course they had more evidence that he's done more sexual abuse to other women. And they also felt like Ruben Flores should not even get bail, because at first only Paul was not given bail. Ruben was given a $250,000 bail, but it would later be lowered. But Ruben Flores had repeatedly lied over the course of this 24-year investigation and has been uncooperative with law enforcement with the specific intent of helping Paul escape prosecution. And so Ruben Flores, his bail was reduced to $50,000 and he made bail and he was out. And then in April of 2021, this is when Kristin's parents sue the murder suspect's father for allegedly moving the student's body. And the lawsuit reads that had Kristin's remains not been hidden, rehidden, and then moved yet again, it is reasonably likely her parents could have been reunited with the remains of their daughter and would have been permitted the opportunity to conduct a burial service at which their daughter could be laid to rest in a place of honor and dignity, as opposed to the present circumstances where their daughter's body was discarded like human garbage. Now, in May of 2021, another development had come out. The parents of Kristin Smart say that the mother of the man accused of killing Smart helped move the girl's remains. So they say that Susan Flores and her boyfriend Mike McConville are accused of helping Ruben Flores remove the remains from his property. And as I mentioned, they initially filed a lawsuit against Ruben, but amended it later to include Susan Flores and McConville. And according to the lawsuit, Susan Flores and Mike McConville went to Ruben Flores' home 4 days after the February 2020 search and worked throughout the night helping move Smart's remains under the deck of the home. And so then prosecutors, they wanted to add 2 more sexual assault charges against the man accused of murdering Kristin Smart. And so they wanted to seek to amend their murder case against Paul Flores to include 2 rape charges against 2 other women who previously came forward against him. And so this had to do with 2 sexual assaults that occurred in the San Pedro area, where Flores lived there between 2013 and 2017. And the prosecution's hope is that these charges will help bolster their case that Flores is a danger to society. Pretty obvious, isn't it? And then we find out that Paul Flores reportedly had disturbing rape videos that investigators found while searching his home. And so they say during the February 2020 search of the suspect's residence in San Pedro, investigators uncovered home videos on Flores' computer that showed him raping an intoxicated female. And another video that was found on his computer showed him allegedly sodomizing a woman who was drifting out of consciousness. And another video found on Flores' computer showed him allegedly sodomizing a woman who was drifting out of consciousness, as well as rape fantasy pornography. The prosecution said that one of the videos was titled "Real Drunken Girls Drugged and Raped While Passed Out." And he allegedly kept all the videos in a file called Practice. Chilling. Then we come to find out that more than 24 women have come forward to say that accused killer Paul Flores either stalked or peeping Tom them. But the judge said that the evidence for those cases are too thin. Now, 2 archaeologists that were hired by authorities testified during Paul and Ruben Flores' preliminary hearing in San Luis Obispo County. And the archaeologists said that they were contacted by the San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office to help search Ruben Flores' home, and they testified that they found 4 different aberrations in disturbed soil areas under the deck. And so during testimony, they said that one of the disturbances found under Ruben Flores' deck was promising due to it being approximately the size of a burial. And so one testified that they found some sort of sticky substance surrounding the area that looked similar to a bathtub ring. And so now the murder trial for Cal Poly freshman student Kristin Smart moves forward against the alleged classmate killer. And so now they will face a jury. Both of them will face a jury. Right now, the dad is probably looking at 3 years. Not really much if he helped move this body. Now, a gag order has been placed on the case. This order sweeps even way beyond court staff and even judicial personnel. It includes lawyers on both sides, people working for lawyers on both sides, even witnesses to trial cannot go into court and then speak to the press about their own testimony. And remind you, it's been 26 years since this happened, and they're having this trial without a body after she disappears after this party. And Paul Flores' attorney, of course, he's going to say the evidence then and now is based on speculation and not proof of facts. Well, good luck proving this, that they had nothing to do with it. I mean, he's been a suspect from the start when he admitted he took her to her dorm room. He was with 2 friends. So he dropped off at the dorm room and she's never seen again? Bro, what are you thinking? How far do you think that story's gonna go? And the dad, who's on trial alongside his son for her murder, he's accused of calling her names and helping his son move and hide her body. During opening statements, prosecutors also alleged that the father and son did not bother to help during searches for Smart while her corpse was under Ruben Flores' deck. Prosecutors added that Paul Flores' story changed multiple times during different interviews, including the black eye. And several of Smart's classmates previously told investigators that Flores was creepy and would always linger around Smart, trying to get her attention. One friend said that he would stare at their group of friends. He made their group uncomfortable, but Kristin was too nice, did not want to hurt his feelings. And so that's the update on the Kristin Smart case. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this case? Tragic case. All of these true crime cases are tragic. And we only wish it doesn't happen. But these are things that happen when you're in college. You go to parties. And as I coach over 50 kids. And when these kids graduate high school, one of the biggest things I'm talking about is that next phase of their life, especially the girls. You gotta be careful with these boys at these college parties. The more alert you are, the more you're protecting yourself. Because I've heard a lot of different stories on people going to parties. All of a sudden they believe something, their drink was spiked, and then they don't even remember what happened. All of a sudden they're seeing videos and pictures and all this stuff. They didn't even know it happened. Some of this stuff has led to suicide, and the only thing I can think of is it worth partying all the time that you need to get so crazy drunk? Because it's when they hand you that drink, or when you leave your drink, because if you keep your drink safe, you can be a little more safer. Stuff is going to happen, but the more we can work on preventing this stuff from happening, the more safer we can be. My friends, be safe out there. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have an amazing day. Peace.